It took me 10 years to learn this, but I will teach you in 10 minutes. Have you ever noticed that the smartest person in the room is often the quietest? While most people chase attention, validation, and constant social interaction, truly intelligent individuals often choose something that seems strange to the modern world. They choose solitude. Not because they are weak, not because they are antisocial, and certainly not because they have no friends. They choose it because they have discovered something most people never understand. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. In fact, some of history's greatest minds, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Nikola Tesla, Isaac Newton, and countless others, spent enormous amounts of time in solitude. They understood that when the noise of the world disappears, something powerful happens. Your mind begins to think clearly. But here's the shocking truth. Most people are terrified of being alone. They constantly need distractions, conversations, notifications, and approval from others. The moment silence appears, they run from it. Intelligent people do the opposite. They run toward it. Because in solitude, they find freedom. In solitude, they find clarity. And in solitude, they discover a level of power that the crowd can never provide. So why do highly intelligent people naturally prefer spending time alone? What secret did the Stoics understand about solitude that remains just as powerful today? Stay with me until the end, because the final reason may completely change the way you view loneliness, relationships, and even yourself. Imagine standing in the middle of a crowded marketplace. People are shouting. Merchants are competing for attention. Voices come from every direction. Now imagine trying to solve an important problem while standing there. Difficult, isn't it? This is exactly how most people live their lives. Their minds are crowded with opinions, social pressures, endless entertainment, and the constant need to respond to everyone around them. Every day, they absorb thousands of messages telling them what to think, what to desire, and how to live. As a result, their own voice becomes almost impossible to hear. The Stoics understood this danger. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, often withdrew into solitude despite ruling an empire. He knew that a mind constantly surrounded by noise eventually loses its ability to think independently. Intelligent people instinctively recognize this truth. They understand that clarity is impossible when the mind is overcrowded. This is why they often choose solitude, not to escape life, but to understand it. When they are alone, something remarkable happens. The mental fog begins to disappear. Questions that seemed complicated become simple. Problems that felt overwhelming reveal solutions. Thoughts become organized. Priorities become clear. For most people, silence feels uncomfortable because it forces them to face their own minds. They immediately reach for their phones, turn on the television, or seek company to avoid being alone with their thoughts. But intelligent individuals do the opposite. They sit with the silence. They allow themselves to think deeply. They examine their decisions, their emotions, and their direction in life. And this habit gives them an advantage that few people ever develop. Consider an archer aiming at a target. If the archer's hand is shaking, the arrow will miss. Likewise, when the mind is constantly distracted, judgment becomes unreliable. Solitude steadies the mind. It allows a person to observe reality without interference. The Stoics believed wisdom begins with self-examination. And self-examination requires something that modern society rarely provides: uninterrupted time alone. This is why intelligent people are not afraid of solitude. They know that every hour spent in thoughtful reflection sharpens their understanding of themselves and the world. While others seek constant stimulation, they seek clarity. And in a world filled with noise, clarity becomes a superpower. There is something most people never realize: your energy is more valuable than your time. You can always make more money. You can recover lost possessions. But once your mental and emotional energy is drained, everything in your life begins to suffer. This is one of the main reasons intelligent people often prefer spending time alone. They understand that every interaction comes with a cost. Not every conversation is meaningful. Not every relationship is healthy. And not every person deserves access to your attention. The Stoics were deeply aware of this reality. Seneca warned that we often waste ourselves on things that contribute nothing to our growth. We give our attention away so freely that, by the end of the day, we have little left for what truly matters. Think about how many people spend their lives. They become involved in endless drama. They argue over trivial matters. They chase approval from people they don't even respect. They exhaust themselves trying to satisfy everyone's expectations. And then they wonder why they feel tired, anxious, and unfulfilled. Intelligent people see this pattern early. They notice that many social interactions are not productive, they are simply distractions disguised as importance. This doesn't mean they hate people. Far from it. In fact, many highly intelligent individuals deeply value meaningful relationships, but they prefer quality over quantity. They would rather spend 1 hour in a thoughtful conversation than 10 hours surrounded by noise and superficiality. Imagine carrying a bucket filled with water. Every negative conversation, every unnecessary argument, every toxic relationship, each one punches a small hole in that bucket. At first, the loss seems insignificant, but over time, the bucket becomes empty. Your motivation disappears. Your focus weakens. Your peace of mind vanishes. This is why intelligent people become selective. They understand that protecting their energy is not selfish, is necessary. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that peace comes from controlling what is within our power. And one of the most powerful things we can control is who and what we allow into our minds. When intelligent people choose solitude, they are often doing something very important. They are recharging. They are recovering from the demands of the world. They are preserving their focus for goals that matter. While others constantly seek attention, they seek renewal. While others fear being alone, they recognize solitude as a source of strength. Because they know a simple truth: a distracted mind becomes weak. A protected mind becomes powerful. And the person who learns to guard their energy gains an advantage that few people ever understand. Most people spend their lives trying to understand others. Few spend enough time trying to understand themselves. And yet, according to the Stoics, the greatest victory a person can achieve is not over another human being, it is over their own mind. This is where solitude becomes so powerful. Intelligent people often choose to be alone because they understand something that many people overlook: growth requires reflection. Imagine a warrior preparing for battle. He doesn't spend every hour surrounded by crowds. He trains, he studies his weaknesses, he sharpens his weapons. He prepares himself long before the fight begins. The same principle applies to life. Every challenge you face, stress, criticism, failure, temptation, disappointment, requires inner strength. But inner strength is not built in the middle of chaos. It is built during moments of solitude. When intelligent people spend time alone, they are not wasting time. They are investing in themselves. They analyze their mistakes. They question their beliefs. They identify habits that are holding them back. And most importantly, they learn to control their emotions instead of being controlled by them. The Stoics believed that an undisciplined mind is a dangerous thing. A person who cannot control anger becomes a slave to anger. A person who cannot control fear becomes a slave to fear. A person who constantly seeks validation becomes a slave to the opinions of others. But solitude creates a rare opportunity. It allows a person to observe their thoughts without distraction, to notice their weaknesses without excuses, to confront uncomfortable truths that others spend their entire lives avoiding. This process is not always pleasant. In fact, it can be uncomfortable, because when you are alone, there is no audience to impress, no one to blame, no one to distract you from reality. There is only you and the truth, and that truth becomes the foundation of growth. This is why many intelligent people seem calm under pressure. It is not because they have fewer problems than everyone else. It is because they have spent countless hours understanding themselves. They have faced their fears in private. They have wrestled with their doubts in silence. They have learned lessons that cannot be taught in a crowd. Think of a tree growing deep roots beneath the ground. No one sees the process. There is no applause, no recognition. Yet those hidden roots determine how strong the tree becomes when storms arrive. Human character develops in much the same way. The quiet moments nobody sees often shape the person everyone eventually notices. The Stoics knew this well. They understood that greatness is not built through constant activity. It is built through deliberate self-improvement. And self-improvement requires solitude. This is why intelligent people do not fear being alone. They recognize it as a workshop for the mind, a place where discipline is forged, a place where wisdom is cultivated, and a place where the most important project of all, the development of one's character, can finally begin. As we come to the end of this journey, one thing should be clear. Intelligent people do not prefer solitude because they dislike others. They prefer it because they have discovered something the modern world desperately tries to make us forget. The greatest relationship you will ever have is the one you build with yourself. In a society obsessed with constant connection, endless notifications, and the fear of missing out, solitude has become a rare and misunderstood skill. Many people see being alone as a weakness. The Stoics saw it as a strength. They understood that solitude creates clarity when the world creates confusion. It preserves energy when others waste it. It develops character when comfort makes people weak. And it teaches self-mastery when the crowd encourages distraction. Marcus Aurelius once ruled an empire, yet he repeatedly returned to the quiet sanctuary of his own mind. Why? Because he knew that true power does not come